Dan Carpenter here. I'm going to talk to you about my medical history, how to lose and regain about 50 pounds of muscle twice. It's going to be a personal video, so if you're looking for training tips and stuff, just skip over this one. So a lot of people have asked me about this since the column appeared in the Beef magazine, so I thought it was best to just make a video. Honestly, this is something I didn't think I'd ever really do. When I first started my personal training page, this was something that I never discussed because I didn't want people to say he's in good shape considering what he went through. Say someone like Ian McCarthy of No Bullshit Bodybuilding, a lot of people give him grief and say you don't even look like you lift, bro, why should I take your advice? And considering his medical history, he's made really good progress. But I didn't want people to say Ben has done really well considering. I wanted them to be able to say that he has done well, full stop, and not even know what's happened. So it wasn't until I was going to have enough of a following and for my kind of physique to stand on its own before I would even discuss this. So now it's out in this month's issue of the Beef. I thought it was best to just make a video. I'm not going to make it too long. It would be worth watching. So, just quickly, here's essentially what happened. I went through 2 very severe bouts of inflammatory bowel disease. So, the first time I was working as a PT manager in Oxford, it was a kind of long spiral. I started at about 84 kilos, so for Americans out there, let's say I was about 185 pounds. After a few months, I went down to 60 kilos, or 132 pounds, and was in hospital for a week. I regained all the muscle tissue, went back to my original weight, and then a few years later, the same thing happened again. So I've been down to 132 pounds twice. I'm going to discuss this kind of second time because it's easier on my memory. I was on a lot of medication, so it's quite hard to remember. So 132 pounds, just to give you a kind of brief idea of what state I was in. I remember a couple of things. I remember my sister having to come down, drive an hour or so to see me because I needed to have a bath, and I couldn't have a bath on my own. I was very, very frail, very, very fragile, in a lot of pain, medication, etc., kind of joint pain. I also remember going down the stairs at like 2 or 3 in the morning. I remember falling over because again I was in a lot of joint pain and not being able to stand up on my own, so I had to call for someone to help me at kind of 3 in the morning. I had to call for my brother to help me. So it was tough. It was tough. I was in a lot of pain, and I was in a reclining chair for literally as close to 24 hours a day as possible because I couldn't go up and down the stairs easily. Long story short, when I started training again, I would use resistance bands in the chair. I was so desperate to to regain the weight that I'd lost that I would do anything to kind of start training. So when I started training again, I went upstairs. I've got some old weights kicking around in my bedroom, and I was in so much pain in terms of like joint pain from corticosteroids that I thought I'll just start something easy. I'll do, say, a little bit of arm work. I knew that legs wasn't in there, so I had one of those, like the very, very cheap standard, not Olympic size EZ bars. They weigh like a couple of kilos, and I remember kneeling down and putting a 5 kilo plate on each side. So let's say the bar weighed about 11 kilos, maybe 12 kilos. So I stood up and I went to pick it up, and I was in so much pain with my lower back that I actually dropped the bar. I genuinely failed an 11, maybe 12 kilo deadlift. So honestly, getting back from it is really, really hard. So this was up until, let's say, maybe 4.5 years ago. So I've come back from this without the use of any steroids. I feel that's important to note because it would have been a lot easier for me to have used them. However, if I use steroids now, even if I did something really, really mild, let's say I just tried them, when people found out about that, they would say, yeah, Ben's in good shape, but he's in good shape because he takes steroids. It would essentially kind of undermine a lot of the work that I've done already, which is why I'm quite strict on that. So, why am I telling you the story? This, for me, is a kind of full disclosure. I always think that I should tell people what's going on, and because the columns now featured in a magazine, I thought it's best to give you the detailed version. Number two, I have a lot of messages from people who say, I don't think I could ever get into your shape, or I think your physique is unattainable. One, I don't take steroids, so it's not unattainable for someone who's natural. Two, yes, it may take years. It took me years, but the point was, it's taken me years to get back from 132 pounds. I mean, that is scrawny. I'm 181 centimeters tall, just under 6 foot. So it gives you an idea of how thin I was. Especially personal trainers, I've had other personal trainers talk about me behind my back and say Ben has definitely taken steroids. The only thing this kind of confirms for me is that they have absolutely no idea what work ethic is, because they've got no idea of my medical history. They don't realise how much muscle I've had to regain twice. So to be adamant that someone's had to take steroids is just literally, it gives you insight that some people just haven't trained hard enough for long enough to know what you can achieve and what you can't achieve. So here's my kind of cliffs of the video, or takeaway points. You would be surprised what you learn going through a down patch. I've learned a lot of training methodologies, a lot about nutrition, because I've pushed myself hard. Number two, I've also picked up a lot of bad habits because I have done things above and beyond what I consider necessary. So my diet was perhaps unnecessarily strict. I've trained through injuries. I'm constantly training through injuries. I'm the type of person that if I injured my wrist, even now, that's as much mobility as I've got in one wrist. So even though I've injured my wrist, I'd carry on training through it because I was on a mission to get back to a kind of healthy weight. I'd stopped working for this time. You can get much better results than you realise if you push yourself to it. If that's what's important to you, you will find a way and you will do it. And for anyone out there who has been through medical conditions, assuming that you've been given the okay from the doctor or surgeon or whatever to train, all is not lost. There are people out there who have been through hard things and come back on the other side. If anything, this puts into perspective for me a lot of things. One, you will treat people with a lot of respect. I had some people who reached out and they were very, very kind to me. Now what you'll notice is that on my Facebook page, if you ever send me a message, I will answer every single person. I never ignore people. I always give people the time of day. I have a newfound level of what's kind of generosity and kindness since being ill. So that's it. Just to explain what's happened. Don't really have anything else to say. If you've got any questions or anything, send me maybe a private message on Facebook, which is facebook.com/Ben Carpenter Personal Training, or my Twitter page, which is VDC Carpenter, and I hope you found it interesting, if nothing else. Thank you.